Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is July 5th, 2022. This is episode 519. Today we're looking at Public Domain coming from Chip Zdarsky. This is issue number 1. Comes out from Image Comics and a whopping $3.99. On the cover here we see the character they have come up with. His name is Eminent Domain. And as you can see, they're tugging at this mask. There's all these different hands trying to grab it. That's part of the whole thing. It's kind of like a throwback to the old stories about Bob Kane and Bill Finger kind of arguing over who created what on Batman. Siegel and Schuster, I believe it is Siegel and Schuster, trying to get some rights for Superman. They sold them to DC Comics, and then the movies came out and they made all this money, but those guys saw not a penny at that time, at least. And also, think of Stan Lee with Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby, the arguments they had over who created what for that. So we kind of had that kind of theme going on through this. Now, Chip Zdarsky is the writer on this. I'm not sure who the art is in here, who it is. The art is okay. It's not great. It looks like they might have used some kind of modeling. I'm not sure. I'm not real versed in that. But it's not super striking. It's just kind of okay. As you can see here. Give you a little taste of that. So the deal is they're about to open this movie, Eminent Domain, starring Blake Powers as Eminent Domain. And they're bringing, I think his name is Sid Dallas, to Hollywood to be at the premiere. Now his two sons, Miles, who's an entertainment reporter, and Davis, get it? I don't know if they're twins or not. They don't want to go to this premiere. They've done all this other stuff, and they're just kind of tired of it. Miles is actually an entertainment reporter, so that kind of doesn't make too much sense, but he does not go. And there's the other person besides Sid is I guess he's the writer for Eminent Domain. Sid came up with, I guess, the character, drew it, and then the other guy wrote it, and he's getting all the credit for everything and all the money. So here we have Chip Zdarsky. Boy, I have trouble with this. Chapter 1, Weren't We the Bad Guys? Allison O'Toole is the editor. I don't know who the artist is. Somewhere in there might say it's a really small print. But weren't we the bad guys? This refers to one of the issues drawn by their father, Sid Davis, where he put his two young sons, in one of the comics, and they both were supervillains trying to take down Eminent Domain. So it starts off where Miles goes to the house to talk to the father, and the father has a special treat for him to give to the other son. It's the one, I think it's the second issue of Singular Comics Eminent Domain, which features the two boys in it as the super villains. So there's the father coming down to greet his son. He asks him if he wants to go to the Hollywood premiere. He says no. He says Miles doesn't want to go either, or Davis doesn't want to go either. Because Miles Davis, two sons. I got it. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Those wacky Canadian writers, I'm telling you. They have a little bit of discussion about it, but Miles he agrees to take the comic to Los Angeles, even though they're not going to go to the screening, and give it to his brother Davis. Now, meanwhile, we cut to the other Singular Comics, the movie company, and we got the assistant to the writer, who's now super well-off, super rich, because he pretty much took everything. And she actually is, and her name's Tanya. She's an aspiring comic book writer herself. I don't think she's really pleased with the job she's got with this guy, and I can't think of what his name is, if it's going to say or not. I don't see it here. Mr. Billings. That must be Mr. Billings there. Okay, and Jerry is the other guy, so I'm not sure what Jerry is. He's the writer that's getting all the credit. Just like kind of Stan Lee did, I guess. So this guy's got supposedly this palatial mansion because of all the revenue that he's gotten off the comic, whereas his partner Sid Dallas has gotten nothing. And I think she's kind of aware of this. Now we go to the National Globe where Miles works, and he's a reporter of some kind, but his editor ends up putting him on the entertainment beat, so he has to go interview Blake Powers, who is the star of Eminent Domain. So he's got a little bit of I don't know, a little bit of friction just going into it because he knows his father got gypped out of millions of dollars by not getting any credit for eminent domain. Now, he goes to meet Blake Powers, and he does his best to keep the best foot, but he sees that Blake Powers is just kind of faking it all the way through. He's saying it's a dumb movie, off record, and all this stuff. And finally, the two actually come to blows once Blake Powers accidentally, he doesn't know that his father, Sid, the creator, accidentally says something about the creator, and Miles goes off and punches him. Like I said, maybe I haven't said, this is a recommended comic. The writing is really good. The art is just kind of really okay. It's nothing great. But the story is very interesting. Now, that said, I want to say this sounds like a movie script. Like this thing, it might be turned into a movie someday. Just the way that it's kind of paced, the way the characters are there, the way there's this controversy, the way that just kind of the first issue ends. It's almost like the end of a first act, really. It's not just a cliffhanger. It's going to take this all in a different direction. So the two brothers meet up. They have some time, spend some time together. It looks like it's Santa Monica, perhaps, throwing rocks into the ocean, just talking about things, and talking about how the father doesn't want to pursue rights to the character at all, and that he's okay with that. And the brother gives the other one the comic, and they get a kick out of it. You can see here's the big panel showing the two boys being put in their father's comic, which I guess they really loved. So they get a kick out of it, and this is many years later, obviously. So they go to the screening, and they find out that there's Sid, and he's just kind of ignored. The writer and the star of the movie get a lot of the credit. Then Tanya sees this, and she's saying, should they get a photo op with the writer and the creator together, the artist together? And he says, no, don't bother. No one cares about the artist. And you can see there's the writer with this young woman with him, just happy as can be. But so Tanya goes over and talks to him, and she just tells him she really appreciates the work he did and everything. And so he just says, yeah, I'm just glad that people enjoy my work. I wasn't in it for the bucks. And so they get a selfie together, and they kind of become quick friends, let's say, just from this very short meeting. And then they file into the theater. Tanya actually is going to sit way up front. Sid gets stuck way in the back of the theater. And so we get this kind of little bit of juxtaposition going on. And we have the director talking about it. This is kind of funny. He kind of looks like one of these Weasley directors that they've been using lately. Those Paul Feig or Ryan Johnstone. And Tanya's just kind of taking it all in. Once the movie starts, the writer is just dead asleep. He's just so bored out of his skull. But Tanya takes a look back, way back, and she sees Sid is just loving it. Just loving seeing his creation up on the big screen. So kind of shows the different takes on the way people thought of it. Next morning, Tanya's in there. I think his name's Jerry, is just being kind of a jerk to her. She's asking for fresh squeezed orange juice. You can see he's just kind of laying around. And I guess they're talking about making a second movie. So he asks her to go down in his cellar or whatever, storage area and find some old scripts. And she starts digging around in all these boxes. It takes her a lot of time to find something. Then she stumbles upon something, and what it is, and we don't really see it here. The boys are gonna go, or I guess Miles is gonna go back to New York or whatever, and they're saying goodbye to the father and whatever. It's kind of a touching frame here. So what Tanya has found is proof that, and she calls Sid up, proof that he actually is the owner of, has the rights to all this stuff. There's a document hidden in this box. And so that's kind of where it ends. As you can see, it says, I own domain. And there's no to be continued or anything. It just ends on this frame here. So it's kind of like the end of Act 1. Like this is going to take the story in a totally different direction now. I believe does it say how many issues this is? I think it's 6. Issue 1. Doesn't say. I'm thinking it's 6 issues. I don't know for certain. But like I said, it's a well-written story, and then it just ends. So there's no extra fluff in this thing. It is really pared down. Not even says who drew it, unless Chip did it. I don't know. Maybe it's stuck in something here. Okay, I don't see anything in the, hidden. Okay, so I'm not sure where the information on artist, letterer, and all that is, but there you go. It's recommended. So thanks for stopping by and watching this review of Public Domain, a recommended book by Indie Comics Jones. As always, please like, please subscribe, please leave comments if you wish. So I want to mention that I got one of my, it was 8 Billion Genies review, #1. Really blew up. I only have 299 subscribers, and that thing's had 275 views. And I did issue 2 yesterday. It had last time I looked, it had 4 views. So quite a discrepancy from issue 1 to 2, but that's kind of the way I do it. I stick with, if I like the comic, I'll stick with it to see if it's any good. I'm sorry, I got my legs in there a little bit. It is summer here. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting that the drop-off was so substantial. It's kind of sad. But go back and check issue 2 out if you like, of 8 Billion Genies, which is also a recommend. Anyway, we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tums. This is Indie Comics Jones bidding you adieu.